be quiet for a second and let me know if you can hear this.
I can't. I'm assuming you're doing like the ASMR bubbly drink kind of thing, where
I was
you're
just
like
slurping
you're
it.
trying to slurp some. I can't hear it. My headphones are like out ear though. I'm trying to be nicer to my ears. I got nothing out of that.
No, my mic is also just too good.
Yeah, no, that's definitely it. That's what happens every time I fail to do something. I think of a reason why it was actually because I'm just too good. Like, my failures can only be caused by my utter and unparalleled skill at whatever it is that I'm doing. I'm just too good for, like, these things that are designed for normal people, you know?
Yeah, I would say that were me today, having played some Magic tournaments this weekend, but I didn't come remotely close to winning them. So,
Yeah, but did you
uh,
not come remotely close to winning them because you dropped in the third round to go play, like, Pokemon Go or something?
no, I have done that before,
Yeah.
but not in 5 years. And
Right, so
also
it's a different game now, right? Like you dropped to play Honkai Star Rail.
that's fair. Uh, Pokemon Go specifically just sold their company to another company that
Yes.
is like actively using and abusing your data more. But anyway, yeah, HSR's tight.
Yeah, no, it's the new hotness to drop a Magic tournament after 3 rounds to go play instead. This is the KMBest podcast. We've received a lot of commentary regarding how out of hand our cold opens are getting. And it's genuinely not on purpose. Like, it's
Figured
a bit.
we keep that train going,
Yeah,
you
like
know?
it's a bit that I'm aware of. Like also, but also like I don't really think we're playing into it that much. Like it's just like we start talking and then I'll realize I have a show to do and then we do the show. We're going to try to do something unprecedented on this podcast and we're going to talk about the game that it's about for like the whole time and we're not going to take a 15-minute digression every 15 minutes. We're going to try. And
Okay,
so,
so
yes.
hold up. Big news. You know how I hit infinite last month?
Yeah.
I'm infinite again already this month.
That's disgusting. What happened? Why are you playing so
Yes,
much? You got to stop. We
I
need you to represent the
I
casual player.
I wasn't playing that much, KM. I wasn't. I swear to
Hmm.
God. Okay, this might be the thing. It turns out it's Marvel Snap. I tried to throw the games. Scream just wouldn't let me.
Oh no, there it is. We figured it out. You're just playing a lot of Scream. Okay, I understand now. I do think that like Scream's actually a
Good
good
death.
place to start if we're going to talk about Marvel
Good death.
Snap because Scream is just if you want like an easy boy deck, if you want to just like not super worry about anything, if you're a player who struggles to hit infinite, like my lovely co-host, it's just going to
Hi.
make it happen.
So I will say it is not the easiest deck in the world to pilot. However, it does do a lot of things that do kind of help make up for your mistakes if you do
Yeah,
make
like
some.
having a lot of power and things of that nature.
Oh, yeah, it does do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there is like a lot of sequencing and planning that goes into the way the games play out. And then there's stuff on the top end like Lady Deathstrike, Cannonball, like those cards are a lot better if you're able to plan well with them, right?
Yeah.
And they bailed me out a lot. So that's the other thing that they do.
Yeah. What the cool thing about Scream is like, okay, it's a Scream deck, quote unquote, but like I kind of wonder if the actual lesson isn't more like maybe Sam Wilson deck should be playing Craven. Like it's because like when you look at what the Scream decks have done, they have taken out so many Scream cards. It's like
Yeah.
Polaris, Spider-Man, Uncle Ben sometimes, Cannonball. It's like 4 screen cards. And then the rest of it is just like a bunch of tech. And then like the really good twos that scale. And it's very interesting to me like that Scream is such a potent scaler that you can just be like, look, if I get 2 procs of this, it's busted. That's a 210. So I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go do it. Like it's fine. And
Yep.
yeah, people also play cards that move themselves, like Sam Wilson and Rocket and Groot.
Idiots. Why
Yeah,
are they doing that?
fools,
Foolish.
fools all.
Yeah.
Other place I wanted to start for this metagame is I can't really explain how. MODOK lost a point of power, and untapped stats have that deck is like actively bad now. Like in top 10% infinite, that deck is below par cube rate in the sense that it is a negative like 0.2 cube rate for the MODOK discard deck. And
What was it before? Do you know?
it was around like 54, 55.
Okay. And now I'm looking at your stuff that's like 52, 51, 51, but like, yeah, sub 0.25 cubes.
Yes. And it's like, I don't know why that would happen from a MODOK nerf. That makes very little sense to me. That's like a thing that would happen from losing a point of power on a MODOK.
No, I mean, the deck makes a ton of power, typically with, you know, Collector, Morbius, Dawkin, whatever, but there's a non-zero amount of games that you do win with like MODOK plus shitbags. And if it means that that lane is more often being contested, then I could see that make or breaking games, even if you're like winning a different location by 20 or something.
That is sort of the thing about discard. I also think that it's just like a function of time. Like there was like a brief window where people, you know, didn't understand exactly how to play against it. You know, the first time you see Mr. Negative, you're like, oh, that's fine, I'll win anyway. And then you just get absolutely god rolled because they drop like a million power and you're like, wow, I didn't realize that was possible. And to a lesser extent, I think that dynamic has been boosting discard's win rate, not necessarily artificially, but there are some downsides to being the exact same deck for 3 months, which is like, people kind of get the deal. Nobody's staying into your 80 power bullseyes anymore. Like, that's just not a thing. They're either going to do something to mess you up and then win against you, or they're going to leave and you're going to get your 2 cubes. It's got the clog problem where all of its points are just on the board the entire time. Like, everything that's going to make it win is sitting right there, either ready to be interacted with or ready to be retreated from.
Yes. Yeah, not a whole lot of surprises there.
I wanted to introduce a concept to you because people are really mad about discard. It is a deck that I constantly see people claim to be broken. And there is, to be clear, zero statistical evidence for that. And even before the nerf, there was zero statistical evidence for that. Like, it was just not a deck that was on the top of any of the stat trackers. It was like a good deck that was popular enough that they decided to nerf it and see what happened. But that was also, it's also worth noting that like a solid percentage of discard's play rate, MODOK's play rate specifically, was Khonshu decks. So they were like aiming at both of those with the MODOK nerf, which I don't particularly love. But
I wouldn't do that because I assume the
either.
Khonshu numbers were not great. So, like, if anything, you would try to maybe buff a card in the deck, which they have done. So, I don't know.
Yeah, if it were me, I would have just 3-2'd Bullseye if we're gonna like take some points off of a discard card, but whatever. But the first thing I saw in my own Discord, like the immediate reaction to the patch was, I can't believe Bullseye survived another patch. And like he's in that same tier in terms of the discourse. He is talked about in the same breath as Sam Wilson, where it's like, I can't believe Sam Wilson and Bullseye. It's like, those are not the same thing. That's not, crazy. Those are not this, they're not even close.
Have you ever played a game where like you just draw Sam and then it's over for the most part?
Yeah,
like you take some
Marvel
game
Snap.
action.
It's called every game I've ever played.
And have you ever played a game where you draw Bullseye, but then don't draw Swarm or are not able to discard your Swarm? And it's just like, my whole deck did nothing, you know?
Yes. That
I don't know. Like, there's an opportunity cost to that guy.
But that's the thing I wanted to introduce to you, is I've invented something called the Hela scale, and it is analogous to the Storm scale in MTG. And what it is a measure of how bad a deck makes you feel when you lose to it. And that is what I'm going to introduce to you today. Hela, of course,
not exactly what the Storm scale is.
I know it's not exactly what the Storm scale is. When I say it's analogous to the Storm scale, I mean it uses a 1 to 10, much like the Storm scale.
Ah, yes, like most scales.
Well, it could be logarithmic. It could use magnitude. You don't know. Okay.
When I get on my scale, it's just like, ooh, 10. You're a 10.
Yeah, what my scale says is get off fatty, but like,
Yeah.
to each his own.
Not enough digits.
Yeah.
Too much muscle. You're too swole.
Oh, I wish it said that. It said, stop eating Dominoes, you obese moron. That's what it said to me last time.
I literally just ordered Domino's.
Damn,
How
my
did
scale
you
was
know?
calling both of us out. My scale listens to the
Yeah.
podcast. All right.
Wow. This is the first time I ordered Domino's in like 6 months.
The worst part is it wasn't Domino's that I ate way too much of last night. It was Pizza Hut or whatever, but like it just came to mind. They got the free promo regardless.
Well,
I don't know if I would call this free promo.
Your scale's like, well, Pizza Hut's fine. Keep doing that, buddy. But this is fucking Domino's.
Domino's is right out. But as I was saying, use the 1 to 10 system to measure not necessarily like just like how stupid you feel when you stay against that deck, and you're just like, yes.
Like, what if they don't have the Hella
yes.
KM?
Right. So
why did they just snap us up to 8 cubes? Maybe they don't have it. Maybe it's a bluff.
It's also a measure of like lack of interactivity, because fundamentally, when you have ways to interact, a deck will naturally slide lower on this scale because you don't feel the stupid for staying because you actually have a good reason to do it sometimes. So
yeah,
like,
what if Sam Wilson was also like, your opponents can't discard cards and also banish everything that is in the graveyard at all times?
Sold. Rest in peace.
I don't think those decks would be very high on the storm scale at that point.
Right.
Anymore.
So
I'm playing Sam anyway.
Sure. I mean, Hella's a 10, obviously, for obvious reasons. Whenever that deck is good, it is a deleterious effect on basically the entire metagame. Decks that are also up there, Clog is actually pretty high up there, like in terms of like decks that probably should not ever be good, or at least should not ever be like a large percentage of the metagame. That's definitely like one of the ones that is up there. I think that the way I think of Bullseye is it's 7 out of 10 Hellas, where your normal mid-range deck, when Bullseye does its thing, is just going to lose to the numbers and has to retreat. And people feel bad about that. And mid-range here encompasses like 90% of Marvel Snap decks. Like, it's not just like, every Agamotto pile. It's like, your Surfer deck is losing to that. Whatever it is, it's probably losing to that. It's getting obliterated because that's what a combo deck does. It goes very, 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 very tall. And that is sort of where I have discard, and I think that is the root of people's dislike of it, where a lot of people are unwilling to do anything other than look at the numbers on the board and say, well, that's obviously a mistake, without understanding the context in which those numbers were arrived at, or the amount of power that or the amount of like consistency that they had to sacrifice, or like the specific things that had to go right for them to get those numbers, right?
Well, a part of the problem too is you don't really remember the games where like you snap them and they retreat or whatever. We're like, they play Morbius and you play a Red Guardian, and then they play a Dawkin and you wins with Tumit, and then your opponent just leaves. And you have like this minor moment of celebration where you're like, haha, yeah, suck it, MODOK gamer. But then you just immediately forget it, right?
Well, I think that's the dynamic, right?
The games where they play Bullseye and then just like fail to do anything, you also forget those games too. It is just, you remember the ones where they just beat you so badly.
Here's my analogy. It's mono red. You don't remember the game where you like stabilized at 20, Day of Judgment it, and then just sort of slow walked to victory. You remember the game where they like turn 4 kill you, and you're like, that's stupid. But it's not. Yeah. It's not stupid. It's allowed to exist. It can be there.
Right. And they do that 50% of the time, like clockwork.
Yeah. It's like, you know what? If they don't do it 100% of the time, or even like meaningfully more than 50% of the time, I just think that people just don't like feeling helpless and don't like feeling like terms are being dictated to them. And discard does a pretty massive amount of term dictating.
Yes, but something has to be dictating the terms. It's like we could nerf Sam Wilson in the ground. There's going to be some other card that gets propped up and becomes the next best thing, and then people are going to complain about that thing. It's just like everything there's always going to be a best thing, right? And there's always going to be something dictating the terms. If my opponent has to play out like a collector in a location and a Morbius in a location, and those are just sitting ducks for whatever I want to do, I think that is a very fair way to go about dictating the terms, whereas Hela is a little bit more unfair and more frustrating.
Right. This is sort of why the my scale sort of scales with the ease of interactivity, right? And it's not like it's the world's easiest thing to interact with Discard, right? Like it's not, oh my god, the easiest thing in the world. But like I won a couple games against Discard yesterday because I was playing Killmonger and they were counting on Meek power. And I was like, okay, well, you don't have that now. I've won games against Discard with Mobius and Mobius, preventing their bullseye from doing the thing. I've won games against Discard with Rogue and Enchantress and Shang-Chi. And it's, again, not the easiest thing in the world. It's not like Destroy or whatever, where just like every single tech card works. There's a lot of like built-in redundancy for Discard in a way that Destroy doesn't have. And there's more of an ability to like play a reasonable mid-range game. That's definitely true. But I feel like the reason people hate this deck so much is they literally just look at the numbers and they're like, that 2-drop is 20 power. It's busted. And there's no understanding of like, well, yeah, the whole point of the deck is to put that 2-drop in a position to get the 20 power, and if they don't do certain things, it won't do that at all, and you have to react to that by blowing up the 2-drop.
Yeah, I mean, Morbius is 20 power, but the rest of their deck contains cards that you do not see in any other deck.
Yes.
And they do not get the ability to play tech cards, you know, like it certainly comes with a cost. And I am personally not a huge fan of archetypes like this, like things that are built around a synergy or, you know, keyword, some sort of interaction or whatever. I don't think that cards like Morbius should be as load bearing necessarily. I would rather see that power like maybe a little equally distributed, but it does lend itself to then like, yeah, it gets rogue or enchantress or whatever. And it's like, oh, okay, well, you were really leaning on that.
Yeah.
So
like
let's kind of put all their eggs in a basket.
Yeah, I think honestly, like the strongest thing that deck does is very often like Dak and Frigga Grandmaster stuff, just because that's the stuff that's impossible to interact with. Like that's the only line they have where if they properly throw priority, they're gonna do something, right? Like that's kind of it. And
see, I'm the opposite of the people I was describing, where like I distinctly remember when my opponent played a Dawkin and then I played Winds on that resolved first on the same turn that they frigged it, and they immediately left.
Yes. Very good play if you can pull it.
I will take that to my grave.
Really?
Remember it forever. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like the Pro Tour win and that.
No, it's mostly just the wins of what.
Mostly just the wins? Okay. All right. The wins...
The one cube I got.
Yeah, the one cube and an undefeated record against Alex Bertoncini. We're going to put that on your tombstone.
I lost once.
Damn, dude. I guess it's just the one cube on your tombstone,
though. No. Twice. I did lose twice. One was immediately after I came back from Wizards the first time and was very rusty. And I blame that.
Right. I mean, obviously, it's like, again, this is a situation where because of your brilliance, you know, you were hired by Wizards. That's the only reason you lost, right? You only lost because you were too good. This is how you have to think.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right.
It's a great mindset. Yeah. Just give in to the narcissism and just sort of let it carry you along. There's no punishment for that.
As a white male, I typically do.
Right. It's perfect. It's a great setup.
Twist my arm, man. Jeez.
It's a good gig if you can get it.
Yeah, real.
Yeah. Along those lines, we talked about Scream, we've talked about Discard. It's probably time to talk about everyone's favorite eggplant man, Mr. Thanos himself. I see you didn't get that. You didn't like the eggplant descriptor?
Is that the chin?
Yes, he looks like an eggplant. He's purple and shaped oddly.
Oh, okay. So here's the thing. I grew up on a farm. I went to the farmer's market every week during harvest season. we didn't mess with eggplants.
Okay.
So I just didn't even really know like what an eggplant looked like.
I thought that was going a completely different direction. I thought you were going to be
No.
like, I grew up on a farm. I ate eggplant every day, and I hate eggplant. No, it's just got nowhere.
No, I should not be eggplant ignorant, yet I am.
Sure. One time,
So
my
that's
parents.
why. That's why.
One time, my parents made me eat pickled eggplant. We were at like a sushi place that like had one of the ones that goes around the tray. This was actually in Japan, which probably makes it even more mortifying for them. We were at like one of those sushi places where like things rotate around, and they made me. I was like, I don't want to eat this, and they were like, you're just being picky. I ate pickled eggplant. I threw up all over the table, just immediately, all over the table, just right there.
I've had those experiences, not to that degree, and certainly if that happened to me in Japan, I would die of embarrassment.
Well, I was like 7. That's like I did way more embarrassing stuff.
Whereas just like I insist that if I do this thing, it is not gonna go well, and they're just like, "No, you're just being you. Just do it." And I do it, and it doesn't go well. It's just like, what'd you want me to do in this scenario? How could I have communicated any
They
clearer?
wanted it to go well, Gerry.
I'd keep wishing, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, yeah,
utilize the power of positive thinking.
I don't think I've ever played against this deck.
Really? That's insane to me. Because right now it is... Well, actually, it's not that insane to you. Because I'm about to cite stats from top 10% Infinite. But yeah,
not
like...
there yet. Give it
typically at top 10% Infinite, what I've noticed about like looking at any sort of untapped stats, and this I'm assuming applies to the other websites as well, is that whatever you set your lowest acceptable level of number of games at, the things at the top tend to be things that are very close to that number of games because of the nature of sample size, right? It's like a Scream deck that's on a good run for 200 games. You set it 200 games. This has 210, and you're like, oh, okay, sure. Thanos list has the highest win rate since the patch in top 10% Infinite of any deck with over 200 games, and it is at 670 games.
It's a big sample size.
Yeah. Oh, wait, sorry, I misspoke. Highest of any Thanos deck, because there were debates over like which Thanos list to play, and when I looked this up, so I got a little mixed up. There are 2 decks above it. It is a Scream list and I think another Scream list, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So
my people.
The point is, this Thanos deck is actually legit. It is legit. It is here to stay. It is actually good, and people should probably be playing more of it because it is just straight up solid. I know multiple people in the top 10 have been messing around with it. It's just good.
I've definitely played against decks with Thanos stones. I don't know that I've played against like this specific configuration.
It is pretty Series 5 heavy. So one of the Series 5s like everyone is missing from this deck is speed. And even the budget version of this deck, which replaces speed with normal Captain America, is like 57% over like 400 games in top 10% since the patch. Like, it's just a good deck. The deck is just good.
Yeah, it's tight. Ongoing stuff's D's.
One of the things I think that gets lost on people is Thanos starts with one more card in deck than Agamotto, and like 4 of his cards are better. Like just a solid 4 of them, I think. In
a vacuum, yes. Obviously, it depends on what you're trying to do specifically. Yeah. And if you're trying to maximize for like fun, obviously, you know, like bolts and wins or whatever, maybe
sure
have bolts like a higher what? Delta of fun, but yeah.
Bolts of what, Gerry?
Balthak.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, the Thanos thing is weird to me because it just feels like he popped out of nowhere, ate Arishem's lunch, and just like he turned Arishem into the redheaded stepchild of big decks immediately. Like, he just showed up and everyone who's playing Arishem is like, fuck this, I'm out.
How many buffs has he gotten? It was like, oh, slight buff to Thanos, no one plays it. Slight buff to Thanos, no one plays it. Slight buff to And it's like, okay, 6 buffs later.
So going back, I want to say the greenstone change was a nerf, right? That was it went from giving it energy to taking it off of Thanos, right? So going back to that, I think they changed Soul Stone and Space Stone. And I think people argued that the Soul Stone change was a nerf, but I don't think it is because making Thanos invulnerable is sick as hell. And then they buffed Space Stone and they buffed Thanos. So it's been like 4 incremental buffs that have been applied to this card, and now it's just like, oh yeah, that's just good now. This is just a good card.
Yeah. I mean, like Goliath helps for sure. I guess Goliath incentivizes you to do more of the spectrum-y stuff. I don't know.
Are we going to talk about the elephant in the room for Thanos, though? I mean, like, I think you know what I'm getting at.
Is it Sam?
It's Sam, and the fact that he makes Mockingbird unnerfed. That's pretty sick. It's a pretty cool thing.
Is definitely cool for Mockingbird. I don't know. I do kind of wonder, like, obviously a bunch of the stones have ongoing already, so that's kind of tight, but like I do wonder if Goliath and the spectrum-y stuff is maybe weaker than some other shell, and it's just like maybe the Thanos stuff is good. And it's like,
it is.
You play Sam, you play Mockingbird still, but maybe you do something else.
Well, you should check out the tweet right below that one, because there's another Thanos build right in there, which is not ongoing focused. But to be clear, like the ongoing build,
I was building the ongoing one.
I think it's better, honestly.
I'd rather not do this, but I do have some quests.
The ongoing one is just straight up like it's just going like 20, 20, 30. Like Spectrum just plays for like a solid infinite level of power basically 100% of the time in that deck. It's just genuinely good. You're just like, oh, okay. I guess that works. Downside, you get absolutely crushed by Killmonger. Like horrifically mutilated by Killmonger. Like it is very, very bad. I won a lot of games against Thanos by just playing a Killmonger in decks that there shouldn't be a Killmonger in. And then they just like snap you and then you just win. Like that's just, it's a very reasonable thing to do against that deck.
All right, the second Thanos deck. I like some of the cards. What the hell is going on here?
You want to read it out and like try to be decently decent to the people who don't follow my Twitter account for, presumably moral reasons at this point that I frankly sympathize with greatly.
Yeah. This is the Derek list for clarity, right? Okay, so Psylocke, Iron Patriot, Captain America, Mobius M. Mobius, Luna Snow, Galacta, Kahhori, Cull Obsidian, Lady Deathstrike, Mockingbird, Magneto, Thanos.
What of those cards do you want to quibble with?
It's not even a quibble. It's just like I look at this and I see someone whose brain works differently than mine, which is not to say like I know better than you. It's like I want to know how this person arrived at this collection of cards because my brain could never. So like,
well, I'm actually
Psylocke specifically is like it stands out to me where it's like, okay, ramp into Galacta or whatever, but like, is there something else bigger that is going on here? I don't know.
Ramping into early Lady Deathstrikes is actually like a fairly relevant thing. Like getting that out there on 4 can be really relevant at killing like a discard scaler before it starts doing stuff.
Okay.
But
so that's that makes sense with like the Luna also, I suppose.
Yes. Like it's a but also just like generally because of Thanos you have like Time Stone, right? So jumping to 5 with Thanos Time Stone lets you just dump that guy on 4. That's pretty sick too.
Yeah.
Like things like that is generally where your head is at. This is a deck that has so many cards in hand basically at all times that it's always going to benefit from more energy. I'm not a big Psylocke fan in the list personally, just as like a general rule, but I don't have like the biggest objection to it. Whereas Luna Snow, I think is like probably just actually good. That's a 3/6 that does stuff you want to do.
So Thanos, like a year and a half ago or whatever, was very much like oh, I want to find a way to accelerate into a 6 cost so that I can play another 6 cost. And like that
Mhm.
was like the big thing. It was like, oh, lockjaw, whatever, play a dino. That's like a fake 6 cost,
Yeah.
right? And so Luna in these decks, especially this one with like Magneto and whatnot, it's like that makes sense to me. I was not questioning the Luna necessarily, but yeah, the Psylocke was strange. But like, I guess the reason why it melted my brain is because mostly looked at Psylocke as like ramping into a 4,
Yeah.
because in most other decks you're talking about like playing her off curve and generally not having a lot to do with that extra energy.
Whereas in
But
this, yeah.
in this, it's way different. It's so much easier to go Psylocke plus Stone into Lady Deathstrike, and that's just great. That
Yep.
makes sense.
You are very fine with like having one energy floating and playing off curve in every Thanos deck because you just use that energy on a stone.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Yes, that is sort of the ethos here. Is just we'll figure it out. We'll just do some strong stuff. It'll put it together. We'll figure it out. And
Okay, I'm coming
yeah,
around. I'm building this now.
for what it's worth, I think that the real gap between these two decks is how badly do you lose to Killmonger? Because in the ongoing list, the answer is really badly. You are counting on the stones for points, not just from Spectrum, but also from like Blue Marvel. Like, you really care about bodies. And it's not even just Spectrum and Blue Marvel, it's Goliath and Dazzler, cards that scale with your ability to fill the board with ongoing cards. Like, you care a lot. Whereas this deck
Yeah,
cares very little about that. Or not necessarily very
yeah.
little, but a lot less.
You are taking way more points off the board than is just wrapped up in the stones for sure.
Right.
And then yeah, this deck is like the stones are facilitating my call obsidian or whatever. Like, who cares?
It's the thing we talked about already, like where it's like the strength of the deck is also where it is vulnerable. The ongoing deck will put more points on the board than this almost every single time with like comparable draws. But it will be more vulnerable to the things that are good against what it does. Whereas this deck is using the stones in less of a complete way, using them as like less of all parts of the buffalo here, just using them as, you know, one drops the cantrip, and that's what I care about, right? And that means it is generally less vulnerable, but it also has a slightly lower peak.
I just did the thing where I go up and down the 4/6s looking for Galacta. I'm like, where is
Mm.
she? Where is she?
They finally did what they should have done forever ago, and just they removed her from the game, but only for you.
Oh,
Yeah,
I probably had it coming.
yeah, I think you did.
Why you got the copper background on her? What are you doing?
Uh, would you believe that's my best split of her? As impossible as that may seem, that is my best Galactus split.
Dude, wail harder. What are you doing?
I've split her a lot. I just get a lot of doggy do. She doesn't love me. Speaking of splits, I got a god split Sam. Rainbow Crackle,
What? Oh,
gold background. So that dude is getting nuked. He's
yeah, he's
getting
dead.
yeah, he's getting, you know, like the meteor that killed the dinosaurs is happening to him. Lamentis 1 is happening to him. Like it's over for Sam Wilson. He is going to like 3 cost. He's going to get +1 from the scaling. The shield is not even going to start on the board. You're going to have to play it. It's going to cost like 3. That's what's happening to Sam Wilson. He is DED dead.
Every time you move the shield, it gives Sam +2 and also takes 25 credits from your account.
I think my nerfs are worse, actually. At least that
Mine's
way
fine.
I can still pay to win, man. Come on. Although that
True.
does put a very funny spin on like your opponent playing like scream decks to move the shield around and charge you more.
Oh, I would. That is the ultimate form of like reefer gaming.
Yeah, it's a sick metagame thing where it's like,
I'm
you
not.
know,
I'm not here to win. I'm just here to bankrupt you. You can have my cubes, but I'm gonna donate your credits back to Ben Brode.
exactly. Yeah, they should do that. That's a good mechanic. I think they should look into that. Thank the Glenn Jones. We got your next mechanic right here, buddy. we got it.
I think Glenn would be a fan of that mechanic.
I like that feels
Not
targeted. What do you mean by
not
that?
no, not gameplay wise, but just like yes, that would be a positive mechanic for us to implement. It would probably make us money.
would probably make the money. Sure, yeah. Yeah, I like how like the Glenn in your conception of him is like an EV robot. Where it's just like he's like a robot you feed information into, and then he's like, would this make us money?
It's not my actual conception of him,
Sure.
and I believe he knows that. But if I'm making jokes, I think that is within bounds.
It's close enough. It's like if you squint enough, you can portray Glenn as an EV focused robot. I see.
I've said worse about him to his face.
That's probably true. I
like him a lot. Just to be clear.
I feel like I've said worse about him, not on purpose, but the time that someone said that he looked like a 10 years older version of me, and I was like, damn, why is this true? And then he saw my comment and was like, ouch. So I've probably said worse.
But is that ouch just because it's 10 years older, or is it ouch because it looks like
either? Either.
Yeah, but how do you think he took it? What do you think that he was ouching about?
I think it was probably the 10 years older thing. Because, although, to be fair, I am like 95% sure he is 10 years older than me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it's close.
I don't even think that's inaccurate. Maybe it's just that he was mad that he looks like me, which is crazy because I'm stupid hot. Strangers on the internet tell me it all the time.
Every morning your scale tells you.
Yeah, my scale every morning. My scale tells you, you're a fat piece of garbage, but you got pretty eyes, dog. That I hear it every morning. Yeah.
Your scale just starts scrolling. It's what's on the inside that counts or whatever.
You've got a great personality. It's like a scale that measures your weight in the platitudes people tell you.
Yeah.
You could probably sell that. That's very like 2012 Tumblr core.
It's like thoughts and prayers.
Oh yeah. That is a merch idea, I think. When we ever do merch for this podcast, the first one is Underground Dojo Keyboard Cage Fighters in the Ninja Turtles font. The second one is the scale that insults you.
Patreon awards.
We'll make the scale that insults you.
My thought was we can't rely on them purchasing it. So we just have to send it to them and hope that they use it.
Right, like a gag gift. Like it really, we should be paying people to accept this, if anything. Like
we should, but that's not how Patreon works.
Right. We're gonna trick them by putting our names on it. We're gonna trick them into thinking it's a worthwhile product.
Dude, branded merch, baby. Let's go.
Let's go. Actually, that plan probably just got much more expensive with the tariffs. Now that I think about it.
Oh yeah.
It's over, dude.
You gotta jack up those tiers.
Yeah. I'll never be able to fulfill my dreams of being a drop shipper now. I can't believe it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I told Gerry before we started the podcast that like what we should do is just do like drop ship t-shirts where like we pay China like $6 for it and then we like put a graphic on it and we sell it for like $32.99. And I see that business model everywhere and it just got so much more expensive. The margins, man, it's crazy. Like I like there's such a market for like nerd t-shirts and I'm sure everyone would love to buy a t-shirt that said Underground Dojo Keyboard Cage Fighters on it. That would sell like hotcakes. I would sell single digits of them, Gerry. That would be massively profitable for me.
You'd sell ones of shirts.
Yep.
Get a shirt that just says like the KMBest on it.
Yeah.
Something about the besties.
Sure.
I don't know. I just dropped from one of your fan alliances, by the way, because it was dead.
That tracks. Every so often, I'll see people in Infinite in my alliances, and I'll be like, "What?" Like, it's like, wait a minute, what the hell? Like, what? To be clear, my alliance is dead. I don't really know why people are still in it. Like 10 people don't play anymore, and I have never collected an alliance quest. play a lot, but
Oh,
I just
you're
don't do them.
yeah.
I'm like, I'm setting a very poor example here, you know? Like, but I'm never gonna leave it. I'm gonna be the only person left in my own alliance. It's gonna be great. Do you want to talk about? I'm gonna give you the choice: Infinity Ultron or Kahhori.
Let's talk about Kahhori because
Okay,
I am kind of confused.
go on.
I guess I don't know in terms of this Thanos deck.
Yeah,
This Derek deck. There's a Kahhori in here,
there
and
is.
you got some Thanos stones and like an Iron Patriot. Your hand will have like 5 or 6 cards in it, maybe,
Yep.
possibly, perhaps, right? Is Kahhori still good in that world? I have not been very happy with that sort of output. I don't know.
I have been. Uh, so basically, the way I look at Kahhori is in decks like this that have a lot of cards in hand, they typically don't want to play Gwenpool because she's so unfocused that you have a lot of cards in hand, not really going to get all you can out of her. Kahhori is the Gwenpool for that deck that doesn't want to play Gwenpool.
So it's not like if Kahhori wasn't here and there was just like a gaping hole in the 4 slot, that I'd be like, oh, I guess we got to put Gwenpool in
Gwenpool.
here.
They should make that.
Got Glenn on
Yeah.
the brain.
Yeah.
I agree. They should make it. That's another thing where he'd be like, that is a great idea.
Do you think so? I think he would be like
No,
I think he'd be like, I don't think that would make money.
again, that was my attempt at a joke. I don't think
Oh.
that he would.
Oh. See, I think he would do it if he thought it was profitable though. Like if he thought he was like you could probably get away with a Ben Brode variant. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that would sell.
Yeah,
That would sell
I
for
think that
sure.
would work.
They should just make Ben Brode avatars.
Honestly, yeah, I feel like at this point he is much more of a mascot of the game than any character really, you know? Like just they basically they wheel him out every month to just be
Yeah.
like, hey Ben, we've got an even dumber costume for you this time. Check it out. Hey Ben,
I haven't seen those videos recently.
hey Ben, what's in our closet today? Do you want to find out? They're doing an episode of Very Important People on him, where like every time he shows up and they cover his eyes and it's like, what is it gonna be today? And they just let him go and they wind him up and they're like, go improv, and then that's the video.
Yeah. Is there another 4-drop that is not Glenpool that we could play?
Yeah, it's
Just
called
in theory.
Kahhori. She's good,
No,
dude. What is wrong with a 412?
because it's split.
Okay.
It's like, oh, Mr. Fantastic is a 3/7. Why not play that in every deck?
Yeah, but like in this case, being split is good because it means your power that is 12 is not vulnerable to Shang-Chi.
Sure. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying you have less agency, less control over it.
Absolutely true. But I just think like on numbers, she is good in Thanos decks, and she's good in V-Hand Misery type stuff.
Those ones I like.
Yeah.
You can sign me up for Misery any day of the week.
I mean, I feel like that's a sheet you signed a long time ago, you know? Like
It's true. Straight out the womb.
Yeah, like that's just like a lifelong commitment right there. That's not even like any day of the week. That's like every day of the week.
And this is why, children should not sign things without parent or guardian present or legal
Yeah.
representation or whatever.
Yeah.
I've made some mistakes in my life.
You
Some of
shouldn't have
them
signed
straight
it.
out the womb.
Yeah, you shouldn't have signed the paper that makes you miserable.
Well, if I could go back and do it all over again, I'd probably sign it again because I'm pretty dumb. But
It's cool. I signed the paper that makes me spend too much on clothes. I don't even go outside.
Yeah.
Like it's
Why do you wear
entirely
clothes?
pointless. Every time, like what happens with me is every time I like have disposable income, I'm like, oh, I should get into a thing. Like, whatever that thing is like where the disposable income goes. It's like, the magic cards for you guys, right? Like that's for you uncultured types, For me, it's like American made workwear for no reason at all.
I mean, it's American made. It's like not you're not doing the worst possible thing, I guess. I don't know, but
It's like American and Japanese tend to be pretty big for like workwear stuff. Japanese being big for workwear is really funny because it's all like post-war stuff. So like a lot of Japanese places will do like vintage Americana because their idea of Americans is like the military people that were there in the 50s, right? And so there's a lot of like really awesome throwback stuff being made by it's weird, but like the best American stuff like that is from Japanese people. Like they're doing
yeah.
that kind of stuff. It's a very odd scene. Is this entirely because of that Twitter account, the menswear guy? I would be lying if I said it was not in part related to that. Like ever since we had that conversation about the skinny jeans, like I've been revamping
Mm,
my wardrobe, man. It's over. I like my jeans
shit.
all fit loose. Like my shirts are all
Shit.
big now. I've got like a half pearl necklace. I'm a piece of shit now, dude.
Shit.
Yeah.
I still have skinny jeans.
Yeah. Just wait 10 years. It's fine. They'll be back.
Dude, 10 more years. Am I gonna last that long?
I don't know, man. I mean, like, you signed the paper that made you miserable. Was there like a time on that? Was it like an in perpetuity
Oh
type
no. I
thing?
honestly, you are probably right. In order for them to get their money's worth
Right.
out of like total amount of misery that I exist in, yeah, I'm probably gonna live to be 120 or something.
Yeah. Like, a lot of people say that it's unhealthy to consume, as many energy drinks as you consume. And those people are wrong. They will make you live till 120.
I think I had 3 today.
Honestly, I'm the last person on earth to lecture about unhealthy caffeine consumption habits. I'm not even going to try.
Caffeine doesn't even affect me.
What do you get out of the energy drinks then?
It's ice cold and tasty.
Have you heard of water?
Yeah, water's okay. It's not as tasty.
I I've never been like a soda person, honestly. So like I don't really get the idea of like sweet drinks. I will eat
Okay.
something sweet, but I don't get it.
So, I used to be a huge soda person,
Sure.
and now I'm not anymore. This is a soda.
I like how it's got
But
a World of Warcraft Xbox thing on there. Like that's just
oh,
like
so this is how I acquired these. Is my neighbor bought a bunch of different Mountain Dew things to get the WoW points or mounts or whatever, and is also like not a big soda person. And then I would go over there and hang out and be like, please, dear God, drink some of our Mountain Dew because I only bought it for the WoW loot. And I would like go over there, have a soda. I'm like, this is pretty good. He's like, you want them? Take them all. And I've just had these in my fridge for like a year, and I am now trying to consume them. And so I'll have like one every 3 days or whatever. But like, I used to drink 5 or 6 cans of soda a day. And now if I drink a can, I just feel bloated and disgusting.
I I gotta say, like just the description of your neighbor that you gave. It's like there's this whole larger conversation going on about reshoring manufacturing and like finding the dignity in work or whatever. And it's like, what you wanna reindustrialize America when our economy is based on buying cans of soda for WoW loot? Get the fuck out of here, dude. That dude is not going to work in a coal mine. I that is not happening. There is no shot, dog. Maybe they'll like gamify working in the coal mine though. Maybe you could get some WoW loot, you know?
Oh, it'd be like Stardew Valley.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm the person that kills the monsters and breaks the rocks or whatever. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm the
he's currently
protagonist of
unemployed.
reality.
He's currently
Well,
unemployed.
do you
Was
think
just
he'd take
recently laid
employment
off
in a coal mine?
in a coal mine. No.
Ah,
Uh, I mean, maybe possibly eventually. He does have a wife and 2 cats that he
sure.
dearly loves. But no, I mean these WoW mounts aren't going to buy themselves,
Yeah,
frankly.
they'll. I don't know. How long do you think it is till WoW does like an NFT thing? I feel like we're heading that direction.
Blizzard has already done so many shitty things.
It just
I feel
seems
like
so on the table.
if they're I feel like if they were gonna do it, they would have done it already. But I feel like even that was a thing where they're like, "Oh, people probably won't like this."
Maybe. I don't know. I wonder. I think if the Trump administration had done something other than like take a shotgun to its own balls, they could have really ridden this like conservative cultural revolution type thing to the point that like, things were actually going well for like all the like crypto people and all of that, like Bitcoin hit 100,000 after Trump's election. It's now down to like 80 again because they keep shooting themselves in the dick. But like I do
Happens.
feel I do feel like they could have done something. Also, do you remember at the outset of this podcast when we were like, we're not going to get 15 minutes of bullshit? We got 45 minutes in and it happened. They got us. We're owned.
I didn't say that. You said that.
Yeah, I did. I'm owned. You're not owned.
I knew it was gonna turn into bullshit. I was gonna start talking about my citrus Jerry flavored Mountain
Yeah,
Dew, which
please
is
do
delicious.
continue.
No, it is delicious, and then I feel awful afterward. And once there's no chance in hell that I finish them because it's been like, oh, here's 8 cans at a time. My
Mhm.
fridge is now full, and there's overstock outside of the fridge too. And it'll take me years to finish these things, right?
I like how he was in that position and he found a willing rube to hoist
Oh
his
yeah.
cans onto. You simply need a rube.
So thing that also came up this weekend hanging out with a separate group of people was my open admittance of being somewhat of a hoarder.
Mm-hmm.
And so someone's like, "Hey, do you want, some I don't know, flavored candy soda?" I'm like, "Oh, okay. I'll take it. Yeah, why not? You don't want it? Sure."
That's that. Yeah, plus EV, right? Like I didn't have soda and now I do.
What if, and this did kind of happen where Richmond lost like we didn't have running water.
Yeah.
Like I forget exactly what happened, but it lasted for almost a week. It was like, oh, if only I had something to drink. Thank God I have this fridge full of mountain voodoo, or whatever the hell.
That has to be worse for you than not drinking water for a week.
Probably, but my thirst was quenched.
Sure.
I
Like
put on 20 pounds.
it's just I feel like it is in terms of the like given the cost of healthcare in America, it just has to be cheaper to like drive out of town to where there is water. Like there is
I did do that. I did do
there's
that.
no
I went to
way.
Virginia Beach. I got back home on Tuesday, and the water had gone out that morning.
Mhm.
And then on Friday, I think I went to Virginia Beach and just got there and was like, "I'm gonna use your shower."
Yeah. That's how we know you're not a true gamer. Because a true gamer wouldn't have showered.
uh like 3-4 days, depending on how you do the math. Like that's
Yeah.
not great.
Did you see that clip of Asmongold that's going around where
No, I
he
would not click
he
on anything that dude's in.
he tries well Twitter video autoplays. He tries
No, it
to
doesn't.
it does on my phone.
Go into your settings and fix that shit. Does your Netflix autoplay too, dummy?
Actually yes.
You can only adjust that setting via browser with Netflix.
That is
So
insane.
log into your Netflix on your browser. This will change your life. I just did this for one of the homies in Charlottesville that I was visiting.
But yeah, so it's a video of him like drinking water. He just like drinks a little sip of water and he makes like a disgusted face and then has to chase it with soda. Like he's one of the aliens in Signs. Like he can't touch the water or he like evaporates. That's what a true gamer would do.
Yeah. I mean, I was like that, but like
Mm.
water is good now. Like my 3 energy drinks kind of thing. Now I'm kind of in a bad spot again where like I record 3 podcasts
Mm-hmm.
and they all happen at like 9 or 10 p.m. my time. which typically involves me drinking something that is not water. Sometimes it is water, but my daily routine when I am not recording is like, a couple Red Bulls in the morning, as one does, and then
I've
I'll
never
start
done
drinking
that.
water.
Sure.
Dude, Red Bull's so tasty.
I drink Red Bull on car trips because there's like non-sugar, non-caffeinated versions of it, wherein they
Oh,
go on.
continue,
No, I
continue.
was just gonna say
No,
like
I gotta look this up.
the idea is to like not make your bodily functions happen, but still make you very awake, right? And it's hard to find stimulants that do that.
Trying to figure out. I just tried this uh other one that was new, but it had some weird stuff. What is this thing?
I've become a tea drinker recently.
Dude, I tried to do that. It didn't work.
Why didn't it work for you?
So I will often eat or drink things that take the least amount of effort.
It's the exact same thing
And so
for me, dude.
I cannot imagine a world where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna cook for like an hour just to like have a meal myself. Like, no, I'm never gonna do that. Like, I first of all, I don't deserve that. Okay, I will happily cook for someone else, but never myself. I deserve garbage out of the freezer that I put in the air fryer.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, like that's the biggest barrier for me too, is it takes time to boil the water for the tea. And it's just like, I don't
Yeah.
want to take that time.
So what is the name of the place that's like in the mall, like Tivana or something?
Don't know, don't leave my
Something
house.
word. I bought like a kit from them and like tried doing it. And I was just like, this is just too much work. And it's like, I don't know, $150 of shit that I bought in
What does a
2016 or
tea
whatever.
kit entail?
Well, it was a bunch. It was just like the thing,
The kettle?
and then like a bunch of different teas and like
Okay.
a bunch of accessories that I definitely didn't mess
That's the
with.
part I want
Whatever.
to know. What are the accessories? Like what
I
are
don't know,
they?
man. I moved with them like 3 different times before finally throwing them away because I'm a hoarder.
Because I will say, my tea setup, such as it is kettle and then tea. I don't have any accessories. That's the extent of my setup. You know, like I don't get much more complex than that. Sometimes a
What is
cup,
this?
you know? Sometimes you need a cup for
Yeah.
your tea. That's about it.
I've been to people's places where they're like, "Oh, would you like a beverage? I have like XYZ and tea." I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take some tea." Sure. And I've there's a place in Richmond that like you go in, they serve you like tea and just like a wide display of like scones and shit. It's like, the British experience or whatever. I've done that a few times.
The British experience. Is it raining and are there transphobes there?
Almost certainly I can't say that I really walked up to anyone and was like, "You
No, like you would know. They would be very loud. They would approach you and tell you all about it.
yeah,
They would write
yeah,
articles all about it and then tell you that they were being oppressed.
yeah." Um Mostly try and just tune out other
Sure.
humans for the most part.
Sure.
Uh I don't know, it was okay. It was fine. It wasn't like the people were British themselves. They're just like, I don't know, we're stealing their culture or something.
Yeah, we're just
Whatever.
gonna we're just gonna we're just gonna make a bunch of money off dumbass Americans who think it's actually cool to live there, you know? People who watched
Monk
like
fruit. Monk fruit.
go on. Is it the
Do you know what
beverage
that
that
is?
turns you into a D&D monk?
That'd be tight. No, Red Bull Zero has monk fruit. Like that is what they're advertising it as. And I tried it and I was like, this is not good.
Look, I don't drink caffeinated drinks for anything other than the drug effects. That's the only thing I approach stimulants for. That's the
Love of the
entire
game.
purpose is
Love of the game.
self-medication. That's all I care about from a stimulant. That's the only thing I do.
No, I have like ADHD, right?
Mhm.
Stimulants definitely affect me to that regard, but I think that there is also some form of ADHD or like an amount in which normal like caffeine does not affect you all that much. Because the stuff that people describe, like, caffeine doing for them or to them or whatever, doesn't do anything for me. Like, I can chug a Red
I
Bull and just immediately go to sleep and sleep for 8 hours,
I have hit that point as well, unfortunately. I assume that is related to my caffeine addiction, but like sometimes I will just like, drink a caffeinated drink and then be like, "Oh, I'll take a nap." You know? That can happen to me. Absolutely. Now, is that related to the half a gram of caffeine I consume daily? Maybe. Maybe it's related to that. Who can say?
It's hard to say. Yeah.
Yeah, like
We're not doctors.
I have no proof. I have my suspicions, but I can't prove anything. And if I can't prove anything, I really wouldn't want to, just talk out of my ass.
But yeah, it's monk fruit. It's like an eggplant to me. It's foreign. I don't know.
Does
Is
it
that a
let
real
me
thing?
do flurry of blows? Probably, actually. Like,
Maybe. I mean,
yeah,
maybe you 10 years ago before your crippling caffeine addiction.
right. You take it and you immediately get to choose a feat and a subclass, and
Mm.
that's what happens when you drink the monk fruit.
Yo, is this Red Wing deck playable? It looks tight.
I mean, define playable. It's playable. You can play it. It's pretty okay. It does stuff.
Technically legal.
Yeah, it's like not like great or anything, but like it's a deck that people have played at high infinite and not done terribly with, and it's been pretty okay. I did regret the grouping of tier 2 there. I feel like there's nuance within that, but thanks to Twitter, I'm not able to talk with nuance unless I pay the worst man in the world $8.
Huh.
I actually think it's more than
Yeah.
$8 now. I think it's like $50 or something horrific. It's like a lot of money.
So many people have it.
Yeah, they're paying him some amount of money that is, I think, more than $8. I think it's probably like $11 a month now or something. I don't know.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. So it is also the worst feature of the new site because all it means is that every comment section is dominated by people who are dumb enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a self-selector for being an idiot, I think. Like not everyone who has a paid blue check is an idiot, but there is a correlation.
Certainly, it's very high.
There is
I
some
think.
number that is higher than the normal population in
Oh
terms of
yeah,
having a paid blue check.
yeah,
It's like an
yeah.
indicator.
I think there are some people where it's like, okay, this is a business decision for you because the thing you care about the most in the world is money or whatever. And it's like, okay, I
Yeah.
kind of get that. I don't super respect it or whatever, like that kind
I'm
of
one of those
mindset. But
people. It's a business decision for me, or it would be if paying for it actually helped.
well, you just did point out that you would be among
I don't
the sea of blue
comment.
checks in comments.
I don't comment. I don't
That
want
would do
I don't,
something.
like I don't comment. Why would I bother? It doesn't actually boost your posts. If it did that, I would consider it as a business expense. But it doesn't even do that. It just boosts your comments. What, like so I can be the top reply guy? Why would I want that? That's the opposite of what I would like out of the Twitter experience. I would pay to have my posts shown to more people because yeah, that can generate money for me. I would not
Yeah,
pay to have my comments shown to more people. That seems
take out some
ridiculous.
ads or see if YouTube has a thing. Like, can you pay to have them push you into the algo more? I don't know.
You can, but I think it's like pretty bad EV and runs some risks that I don't particularly run. The actual thing that I would do is like shorts are the equivalent of like what a creator does for YouTube ads. Like that's how you do that is do shorts.
Yeah.
They're also getting really generous with their shorts view count, right? So like it used to be like they had to watch your short for a little bit and now they're like no. If anyone just even like scrolls past your short within any amount of time it counts as a view. It's like all right, goddamn.
I mean, that doesn't seem good, but whatever. I don't know.
Gotta
Good
juice
for
those
them.
metrics, baby.
No, I know, but it's makes it less reliable
Hmm.
and in theory there would be less buy-in in terms of like, oh, this is meaningful, but probably not, just because that's how things work.
Yup. Well, yeah, like there's a chart in YouTube headquarters that says short views and has like an arrow going straight up. that is what matters.
Cool. I like the card Infinity Ultron. I don't know that I would want to put it into any of the decks that I have currently.
That's basically where I'm at on this card, where it's like, I don't think this guy's good. And my source for I don't think this guy's good is like, he's a 5/6. Like, that is quite bad. Like, compared to 5/5 Sarah, which of these would you rather play?
Well, they're like literally backwards versions of each other, right? Like Sarah lets you dump your hand. This guy gives you a hand to then dump with Quinjet or something, right?
Yeah.
Or Wiccan.
Yeah.
So,
like,
I don't know. I mean, obviously the high roll exists where it's like, oh, this is actually kind of sick. Double the power, make a double power guy. Like, blah, blah, blah. You got like Victoria hand and maybe you forget it or I don't know. But I'm not playing those decks currently. And maybe I'm certainly going to get the card because I'm a giant fish or a friendly whale, as I forget who even told me this in the first place.
I've only ever heard you say those words.
Yeah. Well, rest in peace. It's my thing now. To whoever told me that. I still got to get a shirt with that on it. Just friendly whale.
Dude, the drop shipping. We're gonna do
For
it.
the low price of $80, I can now get whatever I want on a shirt.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, I tried Googling for it, and it was you Google friendly whale shirts, and it's not what I was looking for. But yeah, gonna get the card, gonna try it, gonna donate some cubes, most likely. And then I'll go back to playing Scream or whatever the hell else is good. Be like, that was cool.
I find it hard to envision this card being powerful. And that's not necessarily to say that it isn't, just that I find it hard to envision. And I feel like the ways in which it could be powerful are all like, you play Luna Snow and get it out on turn 4 and you cheat a bunch of energy, and it's like, for what? Like, couldn't you be doing something better in the context of what you're doing? Could there not be a better thing to do with your extra Luna Snow energy? Like, are we gonna sit here and pretend like that's not true?
If you high roll, I think that there are few things that do actually compete with it, but barring that, I'm not a mathematician. I can't tell you how often that will actually happen, but yes. The answer to your question is yes, probably.
Yeah, so win 2 1-in-6s. Well, a 1-in-6 and then a 1-in-5. But
yeah,
win that and the card is good. And then every other combination is like, it's like fine, I guess, you know?
Well, win the 1-in-6, the 1-in-5 card is definitely good.
Yes.
And then I would say the other ones are like, maybe, possibly, like depending, because like the random like move stuff, or like maybe you get the Wonger Stone and the Pump Him Stone or something. Like maybe those combinations do end up being strong based on the current game state context or whatever. But yeah, it's for the most part just be trying to high roll, I would imagine.
There's like some cool surfer stuff where you go like Luna Snow into Sarah into him, or the reverse, right? Where you just like that's like kind of cool. That like lets you do some stuff. That's like, because like one of the things that it actually does perform the role of there is like giving you reasonable stuff to do that increases your range in a meaningful way. And range increases are actually pretty valuable. Like your opponent not knowing what to play around is really good.
Oh, for sure. That one I do think is a reasonable use case, but I think also runs afoul of like what is Surfer's ceiling, and does that compare favorably to the rest of what's going on? And I'm guessing probably not, but there are certainly more combinations for things that seem like they could end up being pretty powerful.
In that world, I think normally the question I'd be asking is, was there better stuff to do with that energy? But it's like, probably at least one of the stones is going to be worth playing, you know? Because, like, so, like, maybe there wasn't better stuff to do with that energy. Maybe he is giving you actually good options for a situation like that.
I mean, certainly in Surfer, I think he is, because most of their stuff just kind of sucks.
A little bit. The problem is, like, when you compare
I
that
didn't see
line
any
to, like...
Surfer decks on your tier list, so.
It's okay. Surfer's okay. Isn't he? Is he not? Surfer's in that group of tier 2 decks in that tweet. You just scrolled right past it looking at Red Wing instead.
I think what happened was I see Silver Surfer and my brain just automatically, like, I just glaze over.
What is it that you have against Surfer specifically? I want to dive into this.
I'm like, oh, it sounds good. It sounds cool. And then I just play and just get my ass kicked repeatedly every time. And I'm trying to train myself to just not get Charlie Browned again. You know what I mean?
What does that training entail? Like, you've clearly mastered it because your eyes glazed over. You didn't notice it all. So, like, how did you Pavlovianly train yourself to make that happen?
Oh, it was, okay, so here's what actually happened.
Oh.
I trained myself to basically not hit, like, maximum amount of clicks on your threads, because on a lot of them you have, like, your rank or, like, a meme or something, and it was the last one in the thread. That is why I did not see it.
What, you don't want to see my memes?
Or your rank. No.
Well, I don't care about you not wanting to see my rank. You know it's high. It always is. Not wanting to see my memes. That's offensive, Gerry. You've insulted me to my core.
It can be offensive, but it should also not surprise you.
It kind of surprises me. I think I'm funny. You know? I wouldn't do those if I didn't think they were funny. And now you're saying I'm not funny.
No. I'm saying that other people think you are funny, and that is a fact.
I guess I'll have to live with that. I don't think I'm getting much better. That's the best I've got, man.
You know?
Nice
all the blue checks think that you're funny, Cam.
Dude, I don't know how to approach blue checks in my replies, because obviously they always end up at the top, and part of me wants to start doing the, like, pay me $10 and I'll unhide you gag.
They would snap it off.
Clearly. Like, it matters.
They're paying $10 for less currently.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, they're currently engaging with my content. I guess I shouldn't be, like, a huge asshole to people that are, like, taking the time out of their day to comment on my stuff. But it does occur to me every time I see a blue check in my replies that I could just, like, hide it and be like, pay me $8. Here's my Venmo. Good work.
I feel like not only would that pay for your own blue check if you wanted one, would still advise against, but I feel like you would be very rich in a small amount of time. Probably.
This is the economy. We're gonna reindustrialize. We're gonna send all the blue checks back to the mines. It's gonna be great.
The blue checks yearn for the mines. They just don't know it.
It's so true. When I think of people that really just want to, like, what really gets me about this whole manufacturing thing that we're talking about is everyone thinks that other people should do it. Like, nobody's like, I will go join the trades. Everyone is like, you should join the trades.
No, someone else will do it. Obviously, like, no one. I don't think anyone is like, I don't know, thinking about what they're going to do for the rest of their life. And they're like, I want to become a janitor or something. And it's just like, certainly, you know, some people are just like, hey, I like just having headphones on and like cleaning stuff. This ends up working out pretty well, you know, but I don't know. It's just, you probably didn't think like, oh, little Billy, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, like a janitor. Like, no one wants to do that. No one thinks that they want to do that. The same shit.
It is super funny to me because, like, overwhelmingly when you catch a guy saying like people just want to go back to like working in coal mines or whatever, and they'll rediscover the dignity of work, and it's like their bio is always something along the lines of like host of Real Manly Man podcast. Like, shut up, man. like Something that's been really bothering me lately is guys that are, by any objective metric, less manly than me lecturing people on how to be a man. It pisses me off. Like, as someone who checks a decent amount of boxes, I bench 3 plates. That's really the only box you need to fucking check. It's like, it is something that comes up where, like, you'll get a guy like RFK Jr. or whatever, who is 70 years old and on steroids. And he's on steroids to bench 110 pounds, which is worse. And he'll be like, you know, the American people have a problem. And that problem is that they're too reliant on drugs. It's like, you do fucking testosterone replacement therapy. Shut the fuck up. Like, just shut the fuck up.
I don't know.
Also, that is what his voice sounds like. He blew his voice out maybe doing heroin. Which, again, it just feels like this is not the guy to tell me not to do drugs.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that his voice sounds exactly like that, but it is, like, definitely unsettling if you have not heard it. I highly recommend it.
I think that my impression of his voice is slightly less unsettling than his actual voice.
No, I agree.
Like, I kind of made him sound like, I don't know. I feel like I kind of made him sound a little Jewish. Where I got a little, like, I'm Miracle Max from Princess Bride. I got a little bit towards there. It's like I made him sound a little bit like a Mel Brooks character to some degree, I think.
A little, it was like a splash.
Yes, there was a dash, and that's my cultural heritage right there. Mel Brooks actually is my cultural heritage. That's like just an objective fact. That's my goat right there, my king. But yeah, like it's just like guys like that, where it's just like a guy who does a podcast and bench presses less than me is gonna tell me that, like, eating soybeans makes you a pussy. Like, shut up. Like, I as someone who does a podcast, I don't really feel the need to lecture other people on how to be a man because I don't care. And just like, it is shocking to me the amount of people that feel the need to lecture on masculinity and don't bench press 3 plates. Like, I'm sorry. Maybe try that sometime. You try going to the fucking gym without some chemical enhancement? I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Are you advocating that these people bench 3 plates so that they kill themselves trying to bench 3 plates?
No, I was not advocating that.
I mean, it is kind of funny to me.
Yeah, just go to the gym, just decapitate yourself.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, all these people keep dying in all of these different states, but it's exactly all the states that you would expect.
75 men in Central Florida found dead after yelling lightweight baby.
Talking about how not soy they are.
Oh my god. Do you think we should talk about Infinity Ultron? I feel like Infinity Ultron would definitely have like a masculinity podcast, actually.
He had a redemption arc in What If.
No shit.
Yeah,
so
I just finished season 3.
Really? I feel like he would. Can you do an Ultron voice for me of him saying, like, you know, no? Because I definitely can't do an Ultron voice. I can barely do RFK. Like, that would be charitable to call that an RFK.
His voice is the dude from The Blacklist, right?
Yeah, James Spader.
Yeah, no, I can't. I don't.
But it's got like the Bane voice filter on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't do that. I'm not even gonna try. Like, if I heard it, I could like try, but like I can't even think about.
You can't do James Spader Bane. You can't put it together. I can't either, for what it's worth, because I don't have a James Spader and I do have a Bane. So if I tried to do it, it would just be Bane.
You can do that. I'll allow it.
Welcome. Wait, what would he call his podcast?
You just put some Mel Brooks in that too, just a little dash.
All of my impressions have a little bit of Mel Brooks in them. Honestly, that's my comedic tentpole is Mel Brooks and Monty Python. Those are like what I was raised on. If anyone doubts my Jewish heritage, there you go. Being raised on Mel Brooks movies is maybe the single most Jewish thing you can do or be.
I'm gonna go to Mel Brooks's IMDb page.
Have you never seen him? How familiar are you with the work of Mel Brooks?
I know the name.
No shit. Really?
I've seen this guy before.
Yeah, I mean, he made the greatest movie of all time.
He's almost as old as I am.
He is, in fact, 92.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
History of the World Part 2. I mean, that's a good thing for a 92-year-old person to be in.
That one is actually barely him. They got like Ike Barinholtz and Nick Kroll to go the original concept. History of the World Part 1 is the movie he made in 1970. It's quite good. It's but at the end of it, he does a gag where he's like, check out History of the World Part 2. And the joke is that the movie's never going to come out. But Hulu has been paying people $10 million for every IP under the sun. So they actually made it.
Little Rascals, I'm sure I saw at some point.
That's not really a Mel Brooks movie. Mel Brooks movies are Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein. These are really, really famous movies.
Yeah, I didn't see them.
Blazing Saddles is one of, if not the best movies ever made. It was co-opted for a while by right-wingers who were like, you could never make Blazing Saddles today because they use bad words in it. And it's one of the most clearly anti-racist movies of all time. It's a very clear statement against racism. And conservatives are like, the liberals are so woke, they're going to cancel Blazing Saddles or whatever. And it's I am 100% sure you can make Blazing Saddles today. Because the message is that racism is bad. And that woke liberal regime has the same message, I think.
Yeah. Still probably can't make it, though.
I don't know. Well, you can't make it because if you made a movie called Blazing Saddles, everyone would just be like, oh, I've seen this already.
Well, that's certainly not true because they remake everything. Also, I was thinking that it would. What was the weed movie with Dave Chappelle? That was like a comedy in the 90s or whatever.
Oh God! Second word high. First word. God, I'm losing it. I remember the exact movie you're talking about.
That's what 2025 Blazing Saddles would be. It'd just be like
it'd be like a weed. It'd be like a Seth Rogen movie.
Yes.
Yeah. When people talk about the degeneration of culture, normally I'm like, you're an idiot with a Greek statue as your profile picture. But if you tried to tell me the degeneration of culture from Mel Brooks to Seth Rogen, I instantly believe it. I instantly 100% believe you. And I don't even hate Seth Rogen, but he's no Mel Brooks.
They don't make them like they used to.
They don't though. They actually don't make them like they used to. But
no,
that's
literally.
Mostly because it was one man's singular vision. And by one man, I mean Richard Pryor, not Mel Brooks. He wrote Blazing Saddles, and I believe did not get a ton of credit for it. He was originally going to play the lead, which I really wish I could have seen that.
The remake is
the Dave Chappelle movie. It was called Baked. That's it.
Baked. There you go.
Yep.
That's it. That's the one.
There we go.
Nailed it.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. That's all I got.
Yeah. No, I'm with it. Do you actually want to talk about Infinity Ultron, or should we talk about movies for 20 more minutes?
I did. I said.
Oh, okay. We're good.
I think the card's good, but I probably wouldn't put them in any of the decks I have currently. That's
a weird definition of good.
It's not weak.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I've heard you use terminology like that and half a card and like full card, and that's like Wizards design stuff, right? Like, am I allowed to know this information? Can you tell me what those words mean?
Not weak is simply like, I mean, it is what it is. It's
Right. Give me an
using
example though, like a card that you describe as not weak
so
in the
it's
current environment.
it is something that is not bad, but despite that, may not see play based on the context of things.
Sure.
And I think that is exactly where this card is. Where like if this card came out 2 months ago, I don't think things have changed dramatically. But like when I was frigging my V hand, and that was the best thing possible, it's like Infinity Ultron would have been tight around. Maybe that was more than 2 months ago. I don't know, but
I will say that turn of phrase of frigging my V hand.
listen, I've never said that out loud before, and after I said it, I was like, that didn't sound great.
It sounds unpleasant, but it's nice to know that we have like a new like alternative for Goon Knight, because that deck's been less than playable for a while. So we got a new gag, frig my V hand. It's even, all female, right? Like Goon Knight, I guess. I never thought about it, but Goon Knight is like, I feel like when I
Non-males
think
can
about
goon.
gooning, it's like I guess they
Non-males
can.
can goon.
I guess.
Yeah,
I never
what the
thought about
hell?
it. It never occurred to me.
You never thought about it.
I never thought about the word gooning applied in any context outside of
I
really
think about
weird
it a
porn
lot,
addicted
KM.
males. Yeah, I bet you do.
I think about it a
Bet you
lot.
do. Just it had not occurred to me. The idea of like femme gooner. Like it hadn't
saying, like,
entered my brain.
You thought femme men could not goon?
That's not what I mean, and you know it. It's just not even close.
See, that one I understand not thinking about as much. I didn't think about that one very much either. But
Yeah, it just didn't occur to me.
Gooning is for everyone.
Just like it feels like the online conversation around gooning is dominated by the male perspective, is what I'll say.
Who is loud in online?
Sure. It's definitely self-selecting, But I almost view gooning as like a purely online phenomenon, not in the literal act of the thing, but in the sort of community around it. Like that is not the modern age has brought a certain texture to the act that perhaps was not there in previous ages.
Question.
Please.
Have you ever heard of the Omegaverse?
I have, yes. I am. You are. Yeah, I see exactly where you're going with this. You're right. Yep. Those are the femme gooners. You nailed it.
I rest my case.
Yep. Nope. That is, you have 100% convinced me.
Listener, if you have not heard of it, dear God, do not Google it.
It would be a bad idea.
And I realize your initial reaction to me saying that is to open a browser and to start Googling it. Think about back in the day when someone did the same thing with, I don't know, for example, Blue Waffle. And you Googled it anyway. And afterward, you were like, why did I do that?
Yeah, you do not want to know.
Remember that.
You don't want to know what the word nodding means. You don't.
You don't.
You really don't.
You don't. In 3 weeks, I have to give a PowerPoint presentation on the Omegaverse. I shit you not.
That's awesome. Are you doing like one of those things where like your friends all meet and like, did they do like a gag gift thing where they assigned you topics?
It was basically a running joke where I have now gotten myself in too deep.
Right. What are the other topics people are pretending on? I want to know.
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
So it's like a Secret Santa type thing.
No, because they all know my topic. Because I was joking like, haha, I could do this. And then they finally like set a date for it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, this sucks. I didn't think we would actually do this.
Topic.
I can't though. That's not who I am.
Well, it kind of sounds like you want to talk about this then. Like just me on the outside looking in, it sounds as though you have chosen to give a
It was
presentation on the Omegaverse.
it was a running joke. It was haha funny, and then they're like,
Mhm.
okay, let's do it on this day, and then I am not one to back down from a challenge because
Right.
I am a white male and I am full of hubris and arrogance. And I am convinced that I will give the best PowerPoint presentation on this possible. And I am also going to subvert expectation and have it be a learning experience in ways that they are not expecting. I have a plan.
What is your methodology here?
Uh, the long and short of it is, in my research, I came across some essays that then led to like more essays, and basically just, well, I don't want to spoil it for the listener
Okay,
because I
they're
told
not
them
going to
not to
be at your
Google it.
podcast party, and neither at your
No,
PowerPoint
I
party,
because
and neither
I
am
don't
I.
want them to Google it. I don't want them to know anything about it. Right?
Okay, we've been talking about this for 5 minutes. I'm assuming anyone with any decent taste has turned it off by now.
What if we go back to talking about Ultron stones or something? I don't know.
Yeah. What if?
Basically, there are questions surrounding this, whether for example, like, this is, promoting some sort of erasure towards like male relationships in terms of like
Mm,
male pregnancy being possible,
sure.
and them being able to, like, the authors being able to write those stories in such a way where you don't necessarily have to talk about the aspect of, two same-sex people who are trying to start a family, and like the struggles that go into that in modern day society. You just get to do this thing like, oh, males can get pregnant. You get to skip all that, focus on the characters, the stories, like things like that. But it is very interesting where it's like, yeah, it does like erase a very, very real dynamic of those things from real life situations, and like whether or not that is a good thing or a bad thing. Because I can imagine in some scenarios people would see that and I don't, just think about it fondly, like, oh, I wish that this was like
Sure.
the state of things or the world we lived in. And there's stuff about, like additional genders and like whether or not that is like trans positive or transphobic or whatever, and basically a lot of reasons, like pros and cons, right? And my understanding is that it is very much dependent on how the author presents these topics.
That is a genuine subversion of expectations, right? And then you just like pepper in some references to nodding halfway through, and you pause for the gag, and then you go back to the lecture.
Yeah, it's basically like, so there's 5 people, 2 of them know about it and read it actively. And then
Horrifying.
uh, the other 2 are basically the ones that I would be presenting to effectively because they're the ones who don't know about it.
Sure.
And I think the 2 who are fans of it are expecting me to educate them, and I am going to educate them, just not in the way that they think I am. And I'm also just
I
going to educate all 4 of them.
I cannot think of a more horrifying situation than being put in the position of lecturing a fanfic writer on fanfic. I would run screaming from that situation. The idea of you presenting this to lay people, that's funny. The idea of you presenting this to people who actually know about it, I would jump out a window. Because
Why?
now, not only is this, you know, a thing. But if you make fun of it too much, you're being rude and you're being graded on accuracy. It's a horrifying position to be in, Jerry. Like,
Well,
what
I
if you
don't know that I'm being
misrepresent some of it?
it's
You're
entirely
done.
possible.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible. Uh, I was not thinking about whether or not I was gonna get graded on it,
You
but
definitely
I will
are
say
now.
I went on Redbubble and ordered merch. And also in relation to this, one of them had each of us take the Omegaverse quiz to find out like
Sure.
what thing we were or whatever, and I got people merch related to what their quiz results were.
Hey man, shout
And
out to Redbubble.
it's easy. I don't know. I just went on, typed in the word, and a bunch of stuff popped up, and I was like, I can buy this shit. This slop. Uh, so I'm giving them presents. You know,
Hmm.
it's gonna be like an Oprah situation. It's like
Right.
check under your chairs or whatever. You know, it's. I
I feel
feel
like
like
that could
that
go
is
a
gonna
lot of
take away.
ways.
No, no, like it's gonna ensure that I get like minimum a C. You know.
Sure. It's just like it did occur to me that like, this is all fun and games until you're presenting on a subject people actually know about. And then it's just like, oh my God. Oh my God. Just horrible.
Yeah, but like I don't think I can mess it up too bad.
Mm,
And I think that halfway through, when I start diving into like the things that I actually want to talk about, that it's not even really talking about the stuff that they know
sure.
about anymore.
I will say, like, if I went to like one of these kind of things, which I don't because I don't leave my house. Uh and
You can invite people over to your house. That's also like maybe a ludicrous.
it is ludicrous, yes. Uh and someone tried to start presenting on like card game theory. I would start throwing tomatoes.
Oh,
I would start throwing tomatoes.
homie,
That's how I
your
would be.
homie rolls up. Your homie rolls up and is just like, here is the definition of tempo. Here's my hour-long PowerPoint presentation.
I would like to introduce you to the philosophy of fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I would go to one where they were actually trying to define tempo. I think that would be sick as fuck. That would be a great PowerPoint presentation.
Nails on chalkboard to me. Like I would make them pause so I could go make popcorn so I could then throw popcorn at them.
Jerry, don't you understand that tempo is like when you play cards and then your opponent is on a clock and a clock is like tempo because they're both related to time.
That is not what tempo is.
That is
I'm pretty
exactly
sure.
what tempo is.
Again, arrogance, hubris, etc. I believe that I am the only one with
Right.
a reasonable to good definition of tempo. But
I don't even think I have a reasonable to good definition of tempo. I view all of them as equally nebulous. I just like doing the John Boyce bulk bit where he's like, "What is a bulk? A bulk is okay, so it's like you can't throw this. It's a sports thing. You wouldn't and it's just like the whole essay is just like mumbling basically.
yeah,
And that's how I view tempo, where it's just like tempo is like when you play a Delver of Secrets, right? Like like that's what tempo is. You play a Delver of Secrets. It's like when you but a Goblin Guide isn't tempo, but like when you Delver of
daze it.
Secrets, yeah,
Lightning bolt you.
yeah. When you lightning bolt them, that's not tempo. But when you lightning bolt a creature, that is tempo. Except sometimes it's not.
The definition is you win the game when your opponent has resources in hand that they have not had time to deploy. That is it.
See, I feel like that definition is a solid definition until you start thinking, does that make every mono red deck a tempo deck? And it does, but no one who uses the word describes them that way.
Like they use it not to describe decks that like win quickly.
Yeah.
Because they are not doing anything to make the game be in that sort of state other than just like winning the game quickly. It's just like if I winter orb your donkey ass, then that is like me doing a tempo-y thing because I'm like disrupting you.
Sure.
And
so you have to add disruption to that definition is the problem.
I think that is the only time when people feel like it is a tempo thing.
Yes.
Is like when I am actively doing a thing that
Yes.
makes like I am wastelanding you or whatever. And it's just like, no, not really. I mean, you could certainly define tempo decks that way. I think that that's okay, but like definitionally, that's not what's really going on. It's like you just created the scenario, right?
Tempo is when you play aggro, but you're blue.
Yeah. I mean,
that's actually like what it is.
Like, there was the mono blue devotion deck that was, 30 creatures in Biden of Thassa or whatever that had not really any normal blue tempo-y tools, like Thassa gave stuff unblockable, or like they had things that stunned red or green creatures or whatever. Like
Yeah.
they had like a small smattering of it or whatever, but that deck could have been a mono white deck. You know, it felt like a white mid-range deck.
Yep, tempo is when aggro but blue. That's literally that's my the closest thing I have to a working definition.
No, it is vibes, right? Like,
yeah,
people do not feel like a smokestack deck is a tempo deck.
Tempo
because maybe
is
the
when
games
vapor
go on.
snag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vapor Snag's got some tempo vibes or whatever, but like Lava Spike doesn't. It's like,
yes.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense. But all right, you're literally accomplishing the same goal, just in different means.
It's so sick. It's literally just like a word that is only applied to decks to make people feel smart about playing those decks instead of feeling dumb about playing those decks. Like aggro, pejorative, bad. Tempo, big brain, clever.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so sick. Anyway, we just did that presentation. We should put that in a PowerPoint, dog. We can wrap that shit up. Tie it in a knot.
Ew.
All right. I feel like that is genuinely probably the furthest afield we've gone in terms of podcast digressions from a podcast where I promised we wouldn't do that.
You're welcome. And it happened at the end, towards the end at least.
Yeah. I mean, I think you could reasonably describe the last 45 minutes of the podcast as just riffing. And that's what they're here for, presumably.
Here's the question.
Yes.
I am going to record this because, again, white male, hubris, arrogance.
Right.
My PowerPoint. I'm going to record it. Do you want me to send it to you at some point? Side note, side question, should I post it? Just like, kind of like apropos of nothing. Just like, oh, new YouTube update from Gerry Thompson or whatever. Like,
I was going to suggest if you wanted to post it on this channel.
Oh God.
I was gonna suggest,
dude, here's the thing. It could honestly be super sick, right? Like, what if it just like leaves the atmosphere and then you get a huge influx of new followers that think you're, Megaverse channel or whatever, and they're like, "Yo,
I'll take
shit
the money.
Dope."
I'll take the money from anyone, but the thing that I love about that is you've been making jokes this whole time about like, white male hubris, etc. And you're like, what if my presentation on the Omegaverse is too good?
Yeah, what if it is, dude? For real, I'm concerned. I'm worried. This is a worry that you have to have every day as a white male.
What if I'm just the most articulate person of all time? What if I'm just too good at this, dude?
Dude, it's a real concern. How dare you invalidate my lived experience? Because I think you're failing to take into consideration that even though I may not be that, people still treat me as though I am that.
They do?
Yeah.
I don't. That's probably why we have a podcast together.
Have you ever presented an opinion and people have been like, I don't think so, man?
Yeah, like all the time.
On the internet, but like those people aren't real.
Yeah, they're more real than real people to me, actually. Like it happens. It happens all the time, people. Actually. Like I'll post something, and then like 7 high infinite players would be like, "You dumb bitch." Like, that debate is what keeps me sharp mentally. If I didn't have that happening.
Nah.
Really. Nobody in your life to just the
occasional dissenter, right? But like, it is a rarity in which someone is like, I think I'm just not gonna automatically like consider your opinion. That is just the default state. People are just like, oh yeah, maybe he's onto something. Maybe he's cooking. I just said the dumbest shit that everyone's ever heard.
Yeah, I will say, I definitely don't have that level of respect for you a lot of the time. No offense. Where it's just like you'll send me a deck and you'll be like, I'm crushing with this. And I'll be like, that fucking sucks. Like that is like doggy ass, right? And like this will happen to me a lot. I'm very good at rejecting other people's opinions. Like there are people who are like very high ranked, they're playing stuff and they'll tell me something like, "Oh, I made this swap." And I'll just look at that swap and I'll be like, "Nope, you can't convince me. I'm sorry." Like I don't care.
Yeah, but this is unstoppable force meets immovable object, right?
Right.
This is two white males coming up against each other, and I'm like, I have an opinion, and you're like, mine is different, and then we're both like, maybe we're both right.
You gotta save the ego somewhere, you know? You gotta like King Solomon this shit down the middle. That way we can both feel good.
Right.
Yeah. It's a very important, you know, the dance of the white male ego. It's like
we can't eat our own, you know,
right.
It's not cool.
Yeah. I don't even know if I count, you know? I'm Jewish, right? Like I think if you asked anyone who cares about race, they'd be like, no, you don't count. That said, that is a very specific subsect of people. That is an extremely, like, the people that really care about this, I think, would say that I am not white. But the fact that they really care about this is indicative of that they would say that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, it's like, it's a bit like asking, like, you know, it's a pretty biased sample size, I would say. That seems like an accurate descriptor to me. But yeah, what if your Omegaverse PowerPoint is just too good? What if this living room recording of a guy giving a PowerPoint on the Omegaverse is just too viral?
I think it might be. I spent, you know, 6 to 8 hours doing some research and made a rough outline, and I was like, yeah, this is the nuts. It's gonna be the nuts.
That's so relatable, except for the 6 to 8 hours of research part. For me, it's more just like I put some words down and I'm like, this is the nuts. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't even matter if they're good or not. It's like, you know, everyone else would have probably used Chat GPT for this, but me, I'm my own Chat GPT. I can be wrong all on my own.
The Omegaverse is big too, you know, like I could get clipped and put on TikTok, you know, people with 30 million followers, you know, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I think of viral content, I think of like poorly shot, poorly lit living rooms wherein there's a man giving a PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like the number one thing that goes viral.
It's the words that matter, right? And I'm sure that people will put the words on the screen and be like,
that is true. They will put the words on the screen. They will not be the words that you actually said. They'll be a best guess made by an AI, but yeah.
Well, no, they might type out their own captions, but also I'm gonna have the PowerPoint right there.
Sure.
Maybe there's gonna be like heinous glare on the TV or whatever. I'm gonna try and play around it. Also, you know it's gonna be the nuts because I went on Amazon to look for one of the clicky dooders to like move the slides along.
Number one thing that guarantees a PowerPoint will be nuts is that like you call it the clicky dooders to move the slides along.
Wait. The first one that popped up, I was like, I already own this.
Okay, that is kind of insane. Like, why do you own one?
And then I dug it out because I knew where it was because I'm a hoarder, but I'm an organized hoarder. And I knew where it was. And it was in with all my other cat toys because the reason I bought it was because I wanted a USB rechargeable laser pointer for my cats. And then I got it and I was like, why the hell is there a play button on here? This doesn't make any sense. Now I know why.
That's awesome. So to be clear, presentation on the Omegaverse, poorly lit room, glare on the TV, guy wearing presumably a snom beanie. All the recipes for internet virality, you know?
May 1st, don't miss it. I'll charge entry or whatever.
Yeah. All seriousness, great coat today. And or bathrobe. Not sure which, but I like it.
Oh, this is weird jacket thing. Yeah.
It's just a solid jacket. Okay, you've made it worse. But I assume that was, as always, your goal. We're going to have to leave it off there. Thank you so much for listening, sincerely. And we will see... Yeah. Like, especially anyone who made it through that last 20 minutes and did not Google what the Omega Verse was.
Literally God's strongest soldier if you did not
just imagining
it.
someone listening to that and not Googling it.
God's strongest
Wonderful.
soldier.
Yeah, that definitely God's strongest soldier there. That's a really impressive thing to do. And we will see you in the next one, all of my incredibly powerful soldiers.